What?
Long live.
Long live
TMA.
You're listening to
Audiovision
Student Voices edition.
Oh yeah.
Well, welcome to today's podcast. I'm Caroline Ray, and starting to our left,
I'm Abdulaziz.
Chad Elliott.
Sophie Thompson.
and today's topics that we're going to be talking about is about health and genetics, the history, and then some race stuff. So, to start off, how did you guys this mornings?
Good.
Good?
It's fine. I'm tired.
Yeah, you're tired. Chad, how are
I
you?
just woke up.
Hey.
Seriously, 5 minutes ago.
That's alright. We make it. How we get there doesn't matter. The journey makes no difference. It's all the destination. Alright. So for our beginning topic, we're discussing in class like health and genetics and stuff like that. Some topics that were brought up about that was genetic coding and your opinions on that. Like, they're saying if they could take Alzheimer's out or any other like diseases out of your baby, would you do it? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, you think that's a good idea for people to be able to modify their child? Do you think it would become like blackmail? Because I know like for kidneys, like if you need a kidney and people are gonna like, hey, you can have mine for like $3 million, and like at what point does it become too much? And then what if like what are the real effects for your child? And then like what are your thoughts on that?
Well, for me, I'm like kind of in the middle, just because, you know, you want your child to be healthy and normal and whatnot, but taking out one thing could potentially mess up something else and like screw up your gene pool basically, and could screw up the rest of your generation, or future generations. So I'm not really for sure, but on the other side, you know, like for me, I wouldn't want my kid to get like whatever disease I had or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure it's just going to be for like really rich people, and no one else is really going to be able to afford it.
That's always how it goes.
Yeah.
Normally it goes, the rich get it first, and then it trickles down. And you made a really good point about when you mess with it, you really don't know what you're messing with. We do know that there are certain genes that, say, might fix Parkinson's, but cause diabetes.
Oh,
Just
so
flipping that single.
lesser of two evils.
Right.
At what point would you say would be enough proof? Like, how would... Because I'm sure they're testing it on rats, because that seems to be the prime animal for testing. But, like, if somebody did volunteer to do it, like, how far would you see, like, the age that they would be like, all right, you're 25 now, you seem all right, I'm going to go with it. Like, is there enough proof to somebody being an experiment that would encourage you to actually attempt it?
I don't know, because everyone is different, so everybody's going to like react different. So
Like where we're sitting right now with what we know, you can't really do it to a human who's alive. It's their offspring that you're going to affect.
Right.
That's-
They then don't have a choice.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet as far as even being able to, you know, just flip a gene in a human being that's already alive and expecting them to be able to
Withstand. Right.
to be even effective.
It's true. Any thoughts from you?
No.
No thoughts from you. Is there anything else regarding health that you guys have heard of, or anything that's just like way out there? The only like way out there thing that I can think of is like 3D printing of human body parts and stuff like that. That's kind of neat. I think they're now to the point that they're able to like 3D print a human. What do you think about that?
I haven't even heard of that.
You haven't heard of that?
I didn't know that was possible.
Because I mean, like I know, like so far what I've seen, like they've done a heart, they've done a kidney, they've done lots of body parts. But if they can do body parts and eventually brain, that's basically human.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of personality they would have.
Probably
Would they
not
have a
much.
soul at all?
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
That's so interesting because if
It'd basically just be like a robot.
I mean, it'd be like a
Robot
that or
pumping blood. Not even that, maybe.
It's difficult to do that, but yeah.
I mean, I feel like it would be possible. Like, I don't think there'd be a robot because they have to take, like, what they're even using now is tissue, like, from people. I feel like it would be more of a clone than it would be.
Well, not
I
an
just
actual
entire-
robot, but like
But I don't
they
think
have
they'd
no
be mindless.
personality.
You don't think they
definitely not have
would?
a personality. I mean, we are a product of our environment
Mm-hmm.
just as much as we are of our genes. So,
Mm.
having to print a fully grown human being, they didn't have the experiences through life, that create a personality.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we can improve ourselves.
Right. Interesting. Crazy world. Transitioning into robots, because why not? In Japan, I know that we've talked about in Japan, like, where robots are now taking over hotels and stuff. Do you think we're coming into a world where eventually computers will override humans? And, like, how will we stop that? Or is it even stoppable?
I think you're absolutely right. They will. And no, I don't think we're going to stop it. What I see more likely is integrating ourselves with computers, cybernetics, right? I kind of see that as being the future direction, that humans are going to become integrated with computers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you think about it, we really are right now, but it's the interface that's the difficulty. We have a keyboard, we have a mouse. If you can eliminate all that, then you're integrated with computers as it is, and it starts evolving into something of a whole different creature.
So would you say, if we go around the table, like, would you say that you're dependent on technology? Like, individually, are you dependent on technology? And then, do you think as a society, we are dependent on technology? We can go to Sophie first.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, because honestly, I can't really do anything without technology. Like, can't turn in homework without my computer. I can't get around, like, Denver without my phone. It's just, like, little things like that. You can't do anything without technology anymore. So I'd say, yeah, like, me and society is very dependent on technology.
Yeah, today technology is most common, and all people rely on it,
Mm-hmm.
and we can't live anymore without it.
Right.
Yeah, and that affect our life and change our thought, and maybe in good way and bad way, and it makes the life easier to us.
That's true.
And
Absolutely. I couldn't survive the way things are right now. I mean, a country boy can survive, but trying to stay in this kind of world now, you can't really survive without technology at all. We're too dependent. I mean, I guarantee we all have a cell phone in our pocket, and probably spend a lot of time during the day just messing around with our social life, let alone doing, important homework, doing our mails, doing things like that. So
Yeah, I think you guys bring up a good point, especially Sophie when she said she can't even turn homework. Like, it's almost as though, like, part of me wants to deny the fact that I'm dependent on technology, because that just sounds like crippling to say, oh yeah, I'm dependent on something other than myself.
Right.
But I think you have no choice almost to be dependent on technology, because, like Sophie said, for our school and our classes here specifically, like, I don't know a professor that would honestly take, like, me saying, hey, I don't want to use technology, can I just turn it in on paper? They would just say, go to the library. Like, there's too many options that you can avoid. Therefore, I think you're forced into this world of dependency, because you have to conform to what everybody else is doing. So unless there's a two-way path where you both are not using technology, I think if one is, the other has to. It's just a yin-yang of technology. I don't think we have much of a choice as far as doing it. Like, I know there's options as far as, like, yeah, you can use the map to go to Denver, but why if you don't have to? Like, is it bad to be dependent on technology? What do you guys think about that?
I think it makes us better.
Yeah?
It makes us much more capable than what we were before.
More efficient.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, and more fun.
More fun, yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I know a lot of people, there's a bad stigma between saying, like, admitting I'm dependent on technology. Why do you think that is? Like, why do you think there's such a stigma to being dependent on technology? Is it just the idea of, like, you're dependent on something in general, regardless of what it is?
Your key word right there is dependence. Nobody wants to be stuck with something, have a crutch. You don't want to be accused of things like that. It's just, it's stigmatized. And I can't imagine a person out there who would say, yes, I'm dependent on it, to the point where I will die if you take this away. But there's a lot of people out there that would say, I would feel like dying for a really long time if you took it away.
Yeah, probably be really bored. I wonder if there's a better word for it. If we're not the dependent, like, yes, I think in for a stretch we are, but what's another word for that? Because I don't feel like you're saying, like, there's dependent being like life or death, and then there's something else to where it just enhances our world that we have now.
Well, we're so well integrated with it. So,
Right. That's what we grew up doing, huh? So moving on to our next topic. We're running in at 10 minutes. We got 10 more minutes to go. It's about history. Chad, I know that you were going to take this on.
yeah.
Would you like to lead a little bit?
I'll talk a little bit about it. Right after Jurassic Park came out, they actually cloned a sheep. Okay.
Was her name Dolly?
Her name was Dolly.
Her name was Dolly. It happened on a Tuesday. I remember it.
Anyways, the world went nuts. Okay, it was like one of the most groundbreaking things to happen, in human history. Unfortunately, the American public went kind of nuts in the opposite direction. They put a moratorium on genetic research, which basically slowed the entire process of research down because, of course, we're the most capable. Yeah, as a nation, right? We have the best funding. We have the means.
So wait, who was it that cloned the sheep? Was it us or
I believe it was a Japanese.
was it Japanese? Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, but we went crazy, and in the end, the politicians who spoke most loudly to the constituencies that were against cloning and who voted for this moratorium were the most heavily invested in genetics research companies overseas. So in this country, at least, genetics has been always looked at as the evil that we're trying to stop, right? And
Always trying to modify, always trying to perfect.
yeah, and it went on to the point of stem cell research when they discovered that stem cells could be used to create new tissues. That they would actually take on the tissue's properties. People went nuts, and again, there's a ban. You can't do this, and the controversy exists today because there's still this perception out there that it involves aborted fetuses. Sorry if that's offensive, but you could actually get it from placentas, right? But the argument still exists. There are too many conservative type thinkers out there that want to keep us from getting into any further into genetic research just out of fear that we're going to modify humans or break them somehow, or we're doing God's work or whatever.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think the other tricky thing about doing the genetics and stuff is, one, I don't know if we're really relying on technology for that. I feel like it's more of a human thing, and that to me is human error. Like, what happens to human error? I mean, what do you do then?
Maybe this is the way we all die. Maybe this is how the world ends.
This is how
We're just
this is how we end. Genetics.
We just kill ourselves.
We just
by
go
screwing up our
backwards.
DNA.
Yep.
Whoops. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear. Wouldn't that be a terrible way to go? Yeah, I think that's very interesting. But I think there's a lot of benefits to that and what we can learn through our history. But you're right. Like, people like to dig their heels into the ground whenever you start change. And I know a lot of people like to think of the worst. It's definitely hard to say, like, this is for the best, or, whatever benefits. Because I know there's benefits. I mean, you look at, like, burn victims. They definitely have helped a lot with, like, growing new skin just for them. And I feel like if this was a personal level, you would definitely have a different opinion. But it's all surface, and we all, are just throwing it out there. But I think they've done a lot with genetics and history and stuff like that, and they've done a lot more than we're even, I don't know what the word, just exposed to, I guess to say.
Yeah, you can't blame people for dragging their heels a little bit. Again, based on human error, and if you just run amok, there is such a thing as going too far with it. Yeah, it's kind of like, well, we can at least be prudent. And not just go willy-nilly into something like this.
Do you think we're capable of going too far at this point?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's corrupt people out there that they don't care. Their bottom line is how much money it's going to make them. And they won't care about the ethics or
That's true.
morality of what they're doing.
Good point. Anything else regarding history?
No, actually, the history is yet to be written because we still haven't gone very far.
Mm-hmm.
We're still like at the very beginning of understanding this.
Yeah, I think what's amazing, what like blows my mind is how, and you'll remember this, not to call it your age, but like when a lot of people didn't have cell phones, and then all of a sudden here we are with not just a cell phone but a smartphone, and like so many little things, and to me it's like so much happened in that little time. How could we possibly top that? And it just blows my mind because I have no idea what's coming. Just to move on, because we're at 15 minutes, is we'll talk briefly a little bit about race, and then we'll wrap it up here pretty shortly. I know what had just happened recently was at Mizzou, there's a lot of racism. Anybody have any contribute to that?
How do we segue into that? Not so well, I think.
Oh, not so well. Yeah, I guess. Well, they can probably cut it off.
Was there something you wanted to say about the issue
Which one?
concerning genetics and race?
Mm-hmm.
Race. Actually, I saw people treat other by their color
Mm-hmm.
or where they are from.
Right, their ethics and stuff.
Yeah, and I think that is not fair for people, because you can't treat people by their color or where they are from, because no one choose what he wants, or yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. So it's almost as though like if you can control genetics, you can control what kind of race your kid is. So that
would be
way,
interesting.
yeah, and that way your kid has, you know.
One little Chinese baby.
Yeah, if you wanted, you could have whatever you wanted, I
Well,
suppose.
there's something kind of interesting on that point. When they discovered how close human DNA was to chimpanzees, people had a fit, again, especially conservatives. It wasn't long after they mapped the Human Genome Project, if you guys are familiar with it, they discovered the difference between one person and another person from different races. The difference was just very minor, like thousandths of a percent of the DNA.
Right.
Yeah, it was so small that, pretty much everybody's the same.
Oh yeah, yeah. I definitely
what's on the
read
outside is just
that it's a small percentage.
right.
Mhm.
So and
That's the
again,
only thing that makes you unique.
right again, and the same people went crazy. Too many people on race issues, right?
Mhm.
I can't be that closely related.
Right.
That's the fact of the matter, and it uncovered that. So it takes that out of the argument, right?
That's interesting, between like people saying, can't believe I'm that close, and saying, that's great, we're, closer than I thought. So I can definitely see one being positive, one being negatives, at least given that. So we're at 17 minutes right now. Just to kind of summarize and get that wrapped up, our first topic that we spoke about was just the overlapping genetics and just the idea of, I guess, making a baby, but to a whole new level and to what you want. Into there, we kind of went into history and cloning, and what it would be like to just clone. Would they be mindless, and would they have personality? Would technology take over the world? Would we even need children anymore? Would we just have robots do everything for us? Thirdly, we just talk about race and like, what if you could choose the race of your kid? If statistically, like say being a white male, and then everybody has a white male, which I think you can almost like overlap how they did in China, where they just had a lot of males, and then what do you do then? So it might be, I can definitely see how it would be a problem in the future if you chose what kind of child you had. There would be no more diversity, and then all of a sudden you'd hit a brick wall.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing about genetics is it's all done by chance, and taking that chance out of it kind of takes the magic out of it, in my opinion.
Or is that a chance of itself to see if it works?
Good point.
Yeah. Man. Well, thank you guys for showing up. Is there anything else that you guys want to add before we sign off? No? Nothing? You guys are all peachy?
Nope.
Alright. So we'll just go around the table one more time.
Sophie Thompson.
Chad Elliott.
Abdulaziz Al-Harbi.
And I'm Kayla and Ray. Thank you for listening.